And I want to welcome everyone to King James Bible University with the House of Yah. We want to welcome everyone, and we want to thank everyone also from the UK that's actually coming in. And we have an interesting teaching today that we're going to go through step by step, but we want to get a very good understanding exactly what is going on based on what is listed in the teaching that is going out. You see that it's called abstract because an abstract is actually telling you about something, but something is actually going on behind it that normally they can talk forwardly about it, but they actually have another meaning completely behind it. So they can actually say it to your face, but the ones who actually know what's going on, they can say one thing, but they mean something else. And if you don't know what the abstract is, you won't know what's going on. And basically, this is what's going on today. So we're going to go through the teaching of this. And this is an abstract where 90,000 was killed, blacks was killed last year without a shot fired. It's hard to believe. And none of them made major news. So the 90,000 in America, I'm not talking worldwide, 90,000 in America was killed last year without a shot fired, and none was newsworthy. But I'm going to show you two videos if you're prepared, because two of them I'm going to show them to you at different times, but I'm going to show you one that's going to set it up, and then as we start going through it, you'll see the other one that is actually what's happening. So we want to get a clear understanding exactly what is going on. So let us set this up, and we're going to see in exactly what's happening. And this is the first one that we're going to go through to where you can see it.
May I help you? Hi, Sue. I'm interested in making a donation. Great. So, would it be possible for me to donate that money specifically for these minority groups so that they could have access to abortions? Yes, it would be. Wonderful. And could I specify that abortion be done, or those abortions be done for a particular minority group, or how does that work? If you wish, you can. Okay. So for example, the black community in Tulsa, would it be possible to give the money specifically for that? You sure can. Wonderful. Great. The abortions will be done specifically for the black community abortions. I will mark it in such a way that definitely it will. On a black baby? Yes. Thank you. Great. Okay. So can I give you my credit card number? Yes.
So that is the first one that we're going through. So what we're looking at is last year, 90,000 specifically black babies was killed last year. Many of them had live birth, and they let them die, which I'm going to be showing you that periodically in a little while, and we're going to go through. But let me set some of this up for you as we continually go through it, because what we have to understand is blacks in America accounts for 12% of the population in America. So how is it that 35% of all abortions is in the black community? And we're going to go through that. So as we go through it, we're going to get some things together. And once we start going through it, we're going to go through the teaching of that to show you exactly how they have put an abstract, because they have you thinking what they're doing out here to the black men, you think is horrific. But they beating us because they have us looking over here, but you're not seeing what's over here. You're going to be shocked on some of the people who actually supported this, and some of the people who actually helped spawn this to put this in the communities. So let us pray, and we're going to get started. Dear Heavenly Father, we want to thank you for all things. I ask, dear Father, let your spirit rest upon this teaching. Let nothing come from my mouth, dear Father, that is not of you. I ask, dear Father, that you move this teaching forward to not just show them what the truth is, but to educate them to where, once they move forward, dear Father, that all these things is of you, dear Father, and you know all things. And people, dear Father, as man is, their devices is to steal, kill, and destroy what you have created, dear Father. And I ask that you bless each and every one of them and let them see what within this teaching, dear Father, that you are the Father of truth. These things I pray in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen. So let's get our Bibles. Let's get a pencil and paper. And we're going to go through this because there's some other things that are actually going to shock many people. Because when it says the truth has to be told, the truth has to be told. And we're going to tell this truth and we're going to run this precept upon precept. But the ones that are going to shock you is to show you who's behind this. And once you see who's behind it, it's going to shock many people. So this is a message to all people. So we're going to get started. We're going to open this up. Let's go to Jeremiah 29. Jeremiah 29, and we're going to open it up at 4. So Jeremiah 29 and 4, we're going to start it right there. And it says, "Thus saith the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel, unto all that are carried away captives." See, and what we have to understand when he's saying captive, we didn't migrate here. Because we're going to get into what actually happened, but he said who was carried away captive. You have people who migrate to the United States. You have people that migrate to other countries. But captive, that you went away as a slave. Understand exactly what that means. Because don't think ever that you came here by migration. You did not. So let's keep moving. "Whom I have caused to be carried away from Jerusalem unto Babylon." It lets you know, and that's a place of Babel, a place of confusion. That's what that's saying. 5, "Build ye houses and dwell in them, and plant gardens, and eat of the fruit of them. Take ye wives, and beget sons and daughters, and take wives for your sons, and give your daughters to husbands, that they may bear sons and daughters, that they may be increased there and not diminished." So he's telling you, where you being carried away to, this is what you need to be doing. Because if so, you will diminish. But he's saying to do this so you won't diminish. Let's pick it up at 7. "That ye seek peace of the city, whether I cause you to be carried away." So he's letting you know where he caused you to be carried away. Where? Captive. And he's saying it right there, carried away captive. "And pray unto the Lord for it." What you going to be praying for? You're going to be praying for peace. Understand what that's saying. He's the one saying this is what you pray for. You pray for peace. But we're going to get more into this and show you how the abstract is actually working. So he's saying, so you're going to pray for peace unto the Lord for it. "For in that peace thereof shall ye have peace." So if you're praying for peace and you're doing what the Lord telling you to do, you will surely have peace. "For thus saith the Lord of hosts, the Lord God Israel, let not your prophets or divers." So this is a key. So let not your prophet or your diver be in the midst of you, deceive you, neither hearken unto your dreams, which ye cause to be dreamed. That's going to be a complete key on what you need to know. So I want you to keep that verse 8 and put a mark there, because we're going to visit that again in another side. Then it says, "For they prophesied falsely," because this is what they're doing. "They prophesied falsely unto my name, and I have not sent them, saith the Lord." What? The ones who have prophesied that had these dreams. So this is what he wants you to understand. Because he didn't send them. And he didn't send them for a specific reason. And we're going to pick up some of this because we now have these brothers and sisters we out there. We don't know if we're coming or going. Why we don't know if we're coming or going? We don't know when we're walking out there and women talk, same as men talk. You know, we sit there and we talk about we scared to have our children go out on the street. Why? Because even the law, the police officers who protect the streets, so-called, actually is killing our children unarmed. So we have to fear for our own lives, even though we're supposed to be protected by the law. But let's look at some more of this. Let's go over here to Deuteronomy 28. Let's go to Deuteronomy 28. We're gonna see why he's saying this is going to happen, because he clearly told us this was going to happen to us. So we're going to go to Deuteronomy 28, and we're going to pick it up at 66. Deuteronomy 28, picking it up at 66. And he says right there, "In thy life shall hang on a doubt before thee, and thou shalt fear day and night, and shall have no assurance of thy life." You're not going to you have no assurance of your life. Why? Because you are in a place where your enemies is residing. We think that we have these things where we're cool, and you're not. But he's telling you, you're going to be fearing day and night for your life. In the day, they shooting our children in the daytime. They killing them. They doing everything they need to do to get rid of you. Day and night. They don't care. At night they do it even more. In the daytime they do it. You can even catch them on video. And if it goes to court, they can even explain that video, what you see. They tell you this is not what you actually see. This is what they do once you have made it past that abortion phase, to where they still got ways in getting rid of you. But we're going to pick up a little bit more of this. We're going to drop down to verse 28, because he's telling you exactly what's going to happen. 28 and 68. It said, "And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships." Now you remember with Moses, they walked out of Egypt. So how he's going to bring you back into Egypt with ships? Put a caveat there. And what you do, put a note right there when you put Egypt and you want to know what the meaning is, you go to Exodus 20 and 2. Because Egypt, all it means is bondage. And we'll touch that real quick to just show you, because it's actually not in my notes, but to make sure we all clearly understand what Egypt is, I just want to make sure we all know. Exodus 20 and 2. It says, "For I am the Lord thy God, which brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage." So that's where he's bringing you back into bondage, is what he's saying right here. So, and then in this time he's going to bring you in ships. So understand what he's saying. And then it says, by the way whereof I spake unto thee, thou shalt see it no more again. Where you're not going to see Jerusalem no more again, is what he's telling you right here. "And there ye shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen, for men slave, and for bondwomen, for women slave. And no man shall buy you, and no man is going to redeem you out of it." So when you have men and you have these activists going out there telling you they're going to make all this stuff free for you and we're going to get out of this bondage, he's telling you no man's going to redeem you. Only one can redeem you is what he said. What he told you in Jeremiah. That's who you pray to. For peace. And this is why he said, because where he's sending us, we're going to be there for a while. So he said this ain't going to be no short thing. Because why? Because we're stiff-necked people. So we have to understand what we're going through and what happened. This is why he's doing what he's doing. Because we continue, every time we get our head above water, we get puffed up, and we even start thinking we did this on our own. So he had to put us right back in captivity, because we're stiff-necked people. But let's pick up some more and find out what happened. We're going to go over here to Jeremiah. We're going to go to 29. Jeremiah 29, and we're going to pick up some more information. What happened? 29 and 28. Jeremiah 29 and 28. And it says, "For therefore he sent unto us in Babylon, saying, this captivity," same as he's saying, he gonna send us as bondmen and bondwomen, as slaves, "and this captivity is long. Build ye houses and dwell in them, and plant gardens and eat the fruit of them. So he said, it's going to be long. But we dwelling with enemies. But the main problem is, how did we get in this predicament and what happened, why this problem happened? That was part of the key, and why we're going to find out exactly what happened. Because we need to understand exactly how did he come, and every time we turn around, we having this problem. And it's to a particular people. Why is it always us? This is something we need to look at. This is something we need to understand. And this is what happened, and this is what went on. We're gonna see what went on. We're gonna go over to Exodus to find out exactly what actually happened in the whole deal. We're gonna go to Exodus 19 to where we can find out exactly what put us in this predicament and what happened, because it's nothing that the Lord did. It's what we done to put us in this predicament, because we decided to make choices that was against him. So let's pick it up at 19. We're going to pick it up at 5, and we're going to find out what happened. It says, now therefore, if ye obey my voice indeed and keep my covenant, and you keep his commandments, but watch what he's saying. Ye shall be a peculiar treasure unto me above all people, for all the earth is mine. So he's letting you know, if we keep his covenant and obey his voice, we're going to be a peculiar people above all people. Because he's telling you right there, all the earth is his. All we have to do is obey him. That's all we have to do. But do we do that? Let's keep going down. Verse 6. And ye shall be unto me a kingdom of priests and a holy nation. These are the words which thou shalt speak unto the children of Israel. This is what he said to all the children of Israel. But let's see, how did we respond? Because this is what he's saying that he's going to do. But we had to answer that. Let's pick this up and let's go over to 7. And we're going to go down to 7. We're going to start right there. And it says, and Moses came and called for the elders of the people and laid before their faces all the words which the Lord commanded him. And understand, this is where we got in trouble. And all the people answered together and said, all that the Lord hath spoken, we will do. It's that where that marriage is. Same thing. Will you love, honor, cherish, sickness and health, all that thing? Same thing. All that the Lord has spoken, we will do. And Moses returned the word unto word of the people unto the Lord. We said we will. Now we're going to find out, did we listen or did we not listen? We're going to pick up some of this over in Deuteronomy. And we're going to pick it up in 28 and 14, because you have to understand, as I said, we are a very stiff-necked people, and we don't do what the Lord tells us to do. So we're going to pick this up at 28 and 14, and he's reiterating some things to us to let you know exactly what he's going to do. 28 and 14, we're going to see right there. It says, and thou shalt not go aside from any of the words which I commanded thee this day, to the right hand or to the left, to go after other gods and serve them. What are other gods? Money, wood, gold. You making idols. You doing these things. These are serving other gods. He said for you to serve him. Even when he was bringing them out, he said, I was a husbandman to them. And he's telling you clearly, don't go to the left or don't go to the right. Don't serve nobody else but me. So it's the same as committing adultery, the same as with a woman or a man. You be to that one man, and that one man be to that one woman. Don't go out serving other women. Don't go out serving other men. You be to that one husbandman, and that one husbandman be to that one wife. Don't go out worshiping somebody else's body or sexual appetites. This is the same thing, how he's take this. This is the same way you can convert this. Let's go down to 15. It says, but it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe, to do all his commandments. And what we got to see, because we're gonna clear some parts in there. Do all the commandments which I commanded thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee. And all you have to do is go right down in 28, and you're going to see what all going to happen. You're going to see a whole lot of stuff. You're going to see yourself in it. But now you see a lot of people sit there and always tell you he changed everything. He ain't changed nothing. See, because we got to remember a couple of things. Malachi 3 and 6, it says, for I'm the Lord, I change not. So we know he's not changing. Let's go over here to Psalms and pick up a little bit of information that we need to help us out. We're going to go to Psalms 89. Psalms 89, and we're going to pick that up at 34. Psalms 89, and we're going to pick that up at 34. And we're going to see from what the Lord's saying. See, here in the King James Bible University, we don't use commentary. Our commentary is in the Bible. Our dictionary is in the Bible. We hold the precepts, and if you want to understand it, a Bible, that's all you need to go to. You don't need to be running to these other books. This is why you hold to the precepts of the Bible, to get the understanding that he's giving you, not to what some man trying to tell you. So that's why a lot of times people go to King James University and they look in there, they try to see what other books they can get to help them, and all you see is you can get this King James, you can get that King James book, you can get this King James. That's all you get it. That's all you're getting in there. You're not getting these commentaries because they're not selling them. You don't buy books to learn about him. He's telling you the book. But let's pick this up and let's see what he said right here. We're going to pick it up at 89 and 34. It says, my covenant will I not break. So he's already telling you, he's not going to break his covenant. Not from Genesis to Revelation. He's not breaking no part of his covenant. All what he said that he commanded, he's not going to break it. But he got another part. Nor alter the thing which had gone out from my lips. So he's not going to even alter it. He's talking about not alter it for you. So you got a lot of people who will sit there and think the commandments of God is done away with. And they're not. So if you're not living under God's commandments, you're living in sin. Because we got to understand, what is transgression? So what is sin? Sin is transgression of the law. So if it was no sin, and you think you're under grace, why are you sitting there telling you, well, I don't want to sin? Because sin is transgression of the law. So don't pour yourself into this oxymoron. But he's telling you, he's not going to alter this for you. So, but most people think that he will alter this here for the people now, by the way that they worship, by the way that they go to church, by the days that they have changed, by the things that they're doing. You thinking he's going to alter this. What you keep in mind is Noah preached for 500 years. Didn't get not one member. So if he didn't get not one member, how many did he save? Only eight came up on the boat. So don't think that the Lord sit there and he needs you. See, we need him, but most people think that he need me. No, you don't need me. We need him. And when he's saying he's not going to alter nothing, and you feel that, oh no, well, I can see this differently, or I can go and I can go worship on Sunday, he's telling you right there, I have tons of scripture to show you that you don't do that on Sunday, but he's telling you he's not going to alter this. So if he's not going to alter it, what will he alter? Nothing. He don't change nothing. So what he has done, he has put a curse upon those people. So when you do break them, you got a curse that is going to be a sign and a wonder upon them forever. And we're going to look at that, and we're going to go to 20. We're going to go to 28, and we're going to look at verse 46. 28 and verse 46. And it tells you right there, and they should be upon thee for a sign and a wonder, and upon thy seed forever. And you can go right to 47, because thou servest not the Lord thy God with a joyful and with gladness of heart and abundance of all thy things. He's letting you know what he's doing. And it's going to be upon you for a sign and a wonder. Why? Because when we said I do, all that he said, that went down from generation to generation. That's why he says it that way. It's from generation to generation. The easiest way to find out who his people is, the easiest way. Look who came over on them ships. Look who always been discriminated very harshly. Look who the ones always being killed without cause. This is the easiest way to find it, because he said it's gonna be a sign and a wonder upon your seats forever. If you don't pray to me for peace, this is what's going to happen to you. Let's move down. Let's go over here and let's look at 62 and see what he's saying there. And now he's going to make it very clear. And it says, and ye should be left few in number. You're going to be left few in number. Why? Because we're stiff-necked people. We're not paying attention and obeying what the Lord said. So we're going to be left few in number, whereas we were as the stars of heaven for the multitude, because thou not obeyed the voice of the Lord thy God. For thou wouldest not obey the voice of the Lord thy God, that should come to pass that the Lord shall rejoice over you, and ye do good and multiply, so the Lord will rejoice over you to what? To destroy you. He's very clear on what he's saying he's going to do. And we with our enemies, and this is what people need to really understand, because I'm going to play this second part, and you're going to see some stuff that I don't think many people is prepared to do, or prepared to see. But we have to understand where he put us and where we are. We're in the land of our enemies. And if we're not choosing to do good, nothing's going to go on. And I'm going to read a letter that went on. And this is a letter that was given. And it was a brother that wrote this letter. And we're going to find out something what went on. Because one of the main persons that for the first part of that video that you're seeing was Margaret Singer, the creator and the birther and the founder of Planned Parenthood. Last year, as I said, 90,000. Understand the number. 90,000 black babies was killed. 90,000. And blacks only account for 12% of the population. Something to think about. Now, let's move into a letter. And all this information you can get, but make sure you do your research. But you can even look up Margaret Singer, and it's Sanger. And I'm gonna read this here. And it says, a birth control movement started in America in 1939 by Margaret Singer. Under this, launched a Negro project. Under this plan, she launched the Negro project. Designed by Singer, Birth Control Federation, according to the Black Genocide Movement, Singer worked closely with the Ku Klux Klan and the Nazis to advance a theory of white supremacy and forced sterilization. Singer did embrace ideas about a genocide that they were popular in the 1920s. The eugenicist movement offered her legitimacy. It was a mainstream movement, but public health for the environment today, it was sanitized birth control and removed it from the taint of immorality and the taint of feminism. Watch how this abstract coming into play. which was seen as an individualistic and antisocial group, and to address the needs of women only and immoral women. When Sengar began her work, black communities was ignored by the medical establishment. So they wouldn't go into our areas. We had to go out to them, but then we really couldn't deal with it in those areas. Same as back there, they had to go and go out the back and to get food and do all these different things. Same as here. But Sengar knew this. And watch what happened. So from early on, Sengar clinics in Harlem were welcomed by esteemed leaders of the day. And this is where you're going to be shocked at. Now you got to remember, they was welcomed by esteemed leaders, including W.E.B. Du Bois, welcomed this. Mary McLeod Bethune, the founders of the National Council of Negro Women. In 1939, Margaret Sengar founded the Negro Project, a birth control campaign for Southern blacks. As soon as he secured funding, the Black Control Federation of America merged between Sengar Birth Control Clinic Research Bureau and the American Birth Control League. And both Robert and the chairman committee of the Welfare of South Carolina Medical Association, Sengar had written a letter saying, understand what this is going on. We don't want the word to get out. We don't want the word to go out that we want to exterminate the Negro population. And what did she use? And the ministers is the men who can strengthen out the idea of its occurrence in the more rebellious members. They're going to use the ministers as when you look as what Paul even said, which we're going to be going through some of the scriptures, to do blacks in. And you see who's tied to it. W.E.B. Du Bois, but it gets worse as it goes. Sengar hired several African American ministers to travel through the South and recruit African American doctors. The project proposal included quotes by W.E.B. Du Bois saying, "The mass of the ignorant Negroes." Understand, Du Bois is saying this. The mass of the ignorant Negroes still breed carelessly and disastrously, so that the increase among Negroes, even more than the increase among whites, is a form of part of population least intelligent and fit. Understand who's saying this. See, these are the parts that even in our culture and even in our people, we don't want this out. But you can go right to Encyclopedia Britannica, you can go to many places and pull this exact information. But you have people who look like you, say they're with you, and this is what they're saying behind your backs. Why? Before the money, as I was telling you, that was coming out of the Bible. But let's keep moving on. So they increased the Negroes, even more increased among the whites, as part of the population least intelligent and fit and least able to rear their children properly. This quote often mistakenly attributed to Sengar, which is not true. It was a reflect comment from the prominent black leader. The Negro Project relied on black ministers because of his white sponsors, believed that the most successful educational approach to the Negro is through religious appeal. This is why when they want to push something, that's why they run through the churches. This is why they do what they do. And when you're running through these theology foundation churches that's using theology that you've been taught in the seminary, they can run this through there and they brainwashing people based on the thousands. Now, we're going to keep moving down because now in 1930, Sengar opened a family planning clinic in Harlem to support in contraceptive used to bring benefits of family planning to women who were denied access to their city's health and social services. Who was that? Staffed by black physicians, the black social workers. The clinic was endorsed by Amsterdam News, which is a powerful local newspaper which still exists today. the Baptist Church, the Urban League, and the Black Community Leaders, statesmen who W.E.D. Du Bois, National Negro Advisory Council of Planned Parenthood, Federation of America in 1942. The Negro Project was later endorsed by a prominent white American who were involved in social justice efforts, including Eleanor Roosevelt, the most visible, compassionate supporter of racial equality in her era. This is a part of the issue. In the medical philanthropists, Albert and Mary Lasker, whose financial support made the project possible. Now, as she went on, she ended up having these award ceremonies. And I'm gonna read a letter of acceptance of one of her awards. But we have to understand what he said. He told you you're gonna be sold to your enemies. And no man's gonna get you out of it. But some men have sold you out. Some that look just like you. We're going to see what this letter entails. We had a letter. You can go pull it directly up right on almost on any encyclopedia because they have it. But here's a letter that was written in 1966 that the Margaret Singer Award was given in 1966, and all you can actually go Google the Margaret Singer Award given in 1966, and you're going to get the same letter. It says, there's a striking kinship between our movement and Margaret Singer's early efforts. She, like we, saw the horrifying condition of the ghetto life. Like we, she knew that the slums poison of society. Like we, she was a direct, actionless, nonviolent resistor. She was willing to accept scorn and abuse until the truth was revealed unto millions. Understand how they saying that scorn? They're trying to put this Jesus click to in it. It was revealed to millions, and turned to the century. She went into the slums and set up birth control clinics. So it's making it seem like this is a good thing because it's going to help get rid of some of the blacks. In the deeds, she went to jail because she was violating an unjust law. Yet the years had justified her actions. She launched a movement which was obeying a higher law, preserved human life under human conditions. Margaret Singer have to commit what was called a crime in order to enrich humanity. And today we honor her courage and vision, for without them, we would have been no beginning. So this letter is literally just really honoring her in every way. Our sure beginning of the struggle of equality by nonviolent direct action may not have been so resolute without the traditional establishment by Margaret Singer and people like her. Negroes have no mere academic nor ordinary interest in family planning. This is what they're saying. You have no common sense, is what this is actually saying. And this is a black man that wrote this. They have a special urgent concern. So they just said the special urgent concern is just to get laid. Is the way this is all abstract. All you gotta do is go read it, and it spells itself out. But watch how worse it gets as it goes on. And this was an accepted letter that was told to many whites by a black man. Recently, the subject of Negro family life have received extensive attention. Unfortunately, these studies have overemphasized the problem of Negro males' egos. Exactly what it's going into. They entirely ignored the most serious element, Negro migration. Now, it's telling you we're going to be carried away captive, but they talking about Negro migration. We ain't migrated anywhere. We was brought here captive. But let's keep moving. During the past half century, Negroes have migrated on a massive scale. This is straight heresy because this black man evidently don't know who he is. But now he's telling you that we have migrated on a massive scale, transplanting millions from rural communities to cram urban ghettos. This is a black man writing this. In their migration, all the migrants, they carry with them the folkways of the countryside unto an inhospitable city slums. Is exactly what he said. You really need to see the letter yourself to really get this. The size of the family may have been appropriate and tolerable on the manually cultivated farms to carry out the jammed streets of the ghetto, and all the respect Negroes in itemized, negligent, and discriminated against, yet worsened omissions was absent of the institution to climate them to their new environment. Margaret Singer, who offered an important institutional remedy. Exactly what she offered a remedy. Was unfortunately ignored by the social and political leaders on this period. In consequence, Negro folkways in the family size persist. The problem was compounded when unrestrained exploitation and discrimination extended in bewilderment of the newcomer of the high rates of illegitimacy in the fragile family relationship resulted. Understand what this is saying. But watch how it just gets worse as it's going. But they telling this to a bunch of white people where he's receiving an award. The Negro, therefore, intelligent guided the family from a profoundly important ingredient to the quest of security and decent life. There was a momentous object still separating Negroes from normal existence. Yet, one element is stabilizing his life and would be understanding of an easy access and means of developing a family-related size of his community environment and the income potential he can command. All BS. This is not to suggest that the Negro should solve all the problems through Planned Parenthood. Understand where he's through Planned Parenthood. His problem is far more complex, encompassing economic security, education, freedom from discrimination, decent housing, to access to culture. Yet family planning is simple, is sensible, and can be facilitated, or is least an obstacle to a solution of many profound problems that plague him. Negroes constitute half the poor of the nation. Understand who's writing this. It's a black man, but we're going to keep moving down. Like all poor Negroes and whites, they have many unwanted children. They are cruel and evil that urgently need control. So he's telling you, so you need to get rid of them. You need to kill them. Technically, what all he's saying. This is scarcely something that's more tragic in human life than a child not being wanted. That which shall be a blessing because a curse of the parent and child. So now they're playing God. There is nothing inherent to the Negro mentally which creates this condition. Their poverty causes it. So now you came over ship, but now since your poverty caused that, you shouldn't be having these kids. When Negroes have able to extend economically, statistically reveal their planned family would have a greater than whites. Negroes' higher economic and educational status is actually have fewer children than white families in the same circumstance. So basically it says you need to stop having so many kids. Same point that the present of the birth rates is not to be long before Negroes are a majority in many of the major cities of the nation. As a consequence, they can be expected to take political control, and many are apprehensive of this prospect. Watch how he really tripped this out. Negroes do not seek political control by this means. Show me any country where they don't try to take over this kind of control. They seek only what they're entitled and do not wish for domination, purchase, or cost of human misery. Negroes were once bred by slave owners and be sold as merchandise. They do not welcome the solution which involves the population breeding as a weapon. They are instinctively sympathetic, which that's a true statement, and that's part of the downfall on many of us. And all who offer methods to improve their lives and offer their fair opportunities to develop and advance as all people in our society. For this reason, the natural allies who seek to inject any form of planning in our society enrich lives and guarantees the right to exist is freedom and diligently. For this constructive movement, you understand how they're saying it, we are prepared to give our urgency in constant support because in the need of family planning, Negroes and whites, then it's, you want to put the whites in there, but it's mainly for the blacks, and whites in common bond, and together we should unite our strength for the wise preservation, not the races in general, but the one race which all constitute to the human race. Now, with that said, let's see who wrote the letter. This letter was written to Margaret Singer by no other than Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. I know it'll shock the mess out of a lot of people, but he's the civil rights leader, accepted this letter. Coretta, his wife, accepted this letter, accepted it in King's speech, and it was titled, "There's a striking kinship between our movement and Margaret Singer's early efforts." You can get this all day long off of any encyclopedia, and you can actually Google Margaret Singer Award, and you're gonna still get the letter. This is what he thought of you. I know it's hard to think of, but we got to understand who's doing this. So let's go over it. We're going to look at Revelation 6 and 3, because understand something. I know some of you guys still sitting there and probably in shock, but he the one that actually wrote the letter, and we want to get an understanding exactly what the motivation was. So we're going to look at Revelation 6 and 3, and we're going to pick it up 6 and 3. We're going to take two verses there. 6 and 3, and it says, "And when he had opened the second seal, I heard a second beast say, 'Come and see.' And there went out another horse that was red, and the power was given unto him therein took place from the earth, and that they should kill one another. And there was another unto him a great sword." So it's saying that they're going to kill one another, which we do that too. So what we have to understand is what this is going on. So the main drive is what was given to him. And we're going to see he wanted the same thing. Power and money is what was driving him. We're going to pick up some of that over in Luke. We're going to go over in Luke 22 and 5. We have to understand exactly what was driving them and seeing what's going on. We're going to look at 22 and 5. Luke 22 and 5. And it tell you, we are glad. And they were glad in the covenant to give him money. So they was glad to give him money. They gave him a reward and they gave him the money for it. And he promised and sought the opportunity to betray him unto them in the absence of the multitude. So in the absence of the multitude, that's what he was doing. Betraying us back and forth. And what he did. So we have to understand exactly what was going on when he's by himself on how he was operating. Because as I said, he said he didn't send them. He said, "You watch out for them dreamers." And we're gonna see part of that. And we're gonna look at Jeremiah 23. And we're gonna park at 24. Jeremiah 23 and 24. 23 and 24. And it tells you right there. And it says, "Can any hide himself in secret places, and thou shalt not see him?" So the same thing. He tried to hide in secret places and do these abstracts, and you don't think the Lord see you? Saith the Lord, "Do not I fill the heaven and earth, saith the Lord? I have heard what the prophets said that prophesied lies in my name." Understand what he's getting ready to say. I have a dream. I have a dream. Who said that? I have a dream. I have a dream today. It's right there in the Bible. He said he didn't send him. But we sit there and hold him at this high esteem. And the same thing is, they have holidays set after him. They have all kinds of stuff set after him. But we have to understand what's going on. We're going to pick it up, some more information. We're going to go over here to Ezekiel 13. And we're going to pick it up at 10. Ezekiel 13 and pick it up at 10. And we're going to go down through there. Because even they have seduced my people. Even them. And he has seduced us. Because many of us hold him at this super high esteem. And what is so and saying what? Seduce my people, saying peace. How many peace rallies has he had? Now, who actually poured him down was actually Malcolm X. Because he was sitting there, Malcolm X didn't see believe in this peace. But he's saying peace, and there was no peace. So with this saying, still with the no peace, what was happening? We'll do these non-peace. We had them attacking us with dogs, guns, hangings, lynchings, dragged behind trucks by the neck, burnings, you name it. Saying peace, and there was no peace. I have a dream. Many people say, well, we have a dream, but just you can go back a few days and we have men unarmed still being shot in broad daylight. And we still say peace. And one built up a wall, and lo, others dabbed in with unto tempered mortar, saying unto them, the dab that which untempered mortar, that is which shall fall, and there shall be an overflowing shower, and ye, O great hailstones, shall fall, and the stormy shall rend it. So we know what's going on, because this is what he's doing. We're going to look at another part where most people sit there and they say they want to call him, Dr. Martin Luther King, Reverend King, in which he shouldn't be saying Reverend no way, and that's in a whole nother teaching within itself. But everybody will say he was a man of God. That's what they say. But as I said, Jeremiah is saying otherwise. We're gonna go over here to 14 and 14. We're gonna pick one verse out of there, and we're gonna move forward. But right here in 14 and 14, he's pretty straightforward. And the Lord said, then the Lord said unto me, the prophet prophesied lies in my name, because that's what he was doing. I have a dream. We're gonna do this peace. And it's been over 40 years, and we still have no peace. Why? Because we're praying with his thought pattern, and we should be praying for forgiveness to the Lord that we have sinned against him. Simple analogy, but we're too stiff-necked to understand it. We want to know what we did so wrong. We have sinned. What is sin? We have transgressed the law. All this going on. But we keep putting it on everybody else, pointing at everybody else, thinking this white guy, this Latino, whoever, it don't have nothing to do with none of them. We have forsaken the Lord, and so since we forsake him, he's beaten us with many stripes, and he's telling you he will destroy you, and we putting it on everybody else, except looking at what ourselves doing. They haven't did anything. They are being used as a whipping stick. But let's keep moving. They prophesied lies in my name, and I sent them not. Neither have I commanded them, neither spake unto them. They prophesied unto you a false vision, which he had a false vision. He seen these children playing together, but they still your enemy. And they this false vision and divination, and these things not the deceit of their heart. So this is what it's talking about. And to tie that, we got to go over to 1 Timothy to pour the rest of this information, doing the precepts of here. And we got to go to 1 Timothy, and we're going to pick it up at 4. and we're gonna pull 2 verses there. We're gonna go to 4. We're gonna look at 1 and 2. And it says, "Now the Spirit speaketh expressly in the latter times, and some shall depart from the faith, which many had departed from the faith, giving heed to seducing spirits and doctrines of devils." This is what we're actually doing, because we have them where they say, well, we can worship any day of the week. Well, the Sabbath is 7 days a week. We can do this anytime we want to. We don't have to just hone to this day, but he tells you strictly, I'm not going to alter nothing. The Sabbath day is my day. I'm not going to alter this. But since you don't believe he got to alter it, guess what? You'll do it on Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And he's telling you he's not altering this. Right, black and white, right in your book. But I can do it this way. I can eat this. I can do that. I can go do this. I can do that. The book is the same from the beginning to the end. It actually don't change. Nowhere. He gives you different ways to look at everything the way you can have a complete understanding, but you choose not to, and you choose to philosophize, you choose to reinterpret to justify what you're doing. And he's saying the same thing all the time. So you listening to seducing spirits and doctrines of devils, because he had one teaching. Let's move down. Speaking lies and hypocrisy, having their consent seared with a hot iron. This is what you're doing. This is what you're doing. And your mind is seared to doing wrong. Seared completely to just do wrong. And every time they tell you do this way, or they just say, well, we're going to tell you what, Elder Johnson, you're a modern day Pharisee. But I'm doing a teaching on that. We're going to find out who's the real Pharisee. Scripture only. We will see. And you will find out who is the Pharisee. Because what we're going to find out, even in here, what is going on in here. And we're going to look at Daniel, where he tells you consistently about Daniel. And you have people sitting there talking about, they go to Daniel and they go through all these books to try to understand what Daniel's saying and don't get what Daniel's saying because they don't understand Daniel. But we're going to see right here, we're going to look at Daniel 12 and 21. 11 and 21, I'm sorry. We're going to go to Daniel 11 and 21, and we're going to see. And it says, "In his first estate shall stand up in a vile person." This is a low-down, dirty dog person. A vile person to whom they say not give honor of the kingdom. But he shall come in peaceably. Who came in peaceably? Dr. Martin Luther King. W.E.D. Du Bois. And they seduced you to where they can set up these Planned Parenthoods. They was backing her. They seduced the people. That's how they was able to become so popular in there. Because what did she say? She said, we're going to use ministers to get this stuff set up. So I know it's hard for a lot of people to take this and swallow it, but I'm going to tell you what, you have to understand what it is. He say, you trust in man. You trust in God, not in man. But this is what they did. So he said, so they come peaceably to attain the kingdom by what? By flatteries. That's what they did. That's what they did. We're gonna jump down to 34. And it says, "And when they shall fall, and they shall be hoping." I'm talking about you're going to be rendered helpless. "With a little help, but many shall cleave to them with flattery." And once you become completely helpless, you're going to come completely helpless, you're going to be cleaving to him. Not to the Lord, you're going to cleave to that one who's bringing this false doctrine to you. And to show you even more how you do it, and as you holding on to him, you think you on to the right one? Watch how the Lord takes care. Watch how he take care of it, because he's letting you know all the time. We're going to go over to Psalms. We're going to look at Psalms 55. Because he's letting you know what's going on all the time. See, pastors, preachers, teachers, and such We are not here to be lords over his heritage at all. We're only here to guide you. That's it, to guide you in the direct way, to show you what the book is saying, to teach you what the book has to say. And if you're having a problem there, we're to sit there to direct you, to give you the understanding of what the book's saying. Not to be lords over you, not at no time. But let's see what happened here. We're going to go over here to Psalms 55, and we're going to pick it up at 12. Psalms 55, we're going to pick it up at 12. It says, for it was not an enemy that reapproached me. So it wasn't the enemy. So as I was telling you, you think it's everybody want to sit there and blame it on the white man and this and that. It wasn't the enemy that reapproached you, that did you in. Then I could have bored it. So then you could have bored it. Neither was it he that hated me, that did magnify himself against me. So it wasn't him. Then I would have hid myself from him. So I would have got away from him. But let's go to 13. But it was thou. It was you. It was you, W.E.D. Du Bois. It was you, King. A man of my equal. A man just like me. A black man just like me. A man of my equal in stature in this country that was sold here, that came in captivity. My guide guided you right to destruction in my acquaintance. This is what is going on. This is why we have to watch what we do all the time, and you don't play into nobody's thing on anything. So we want to understand exactly what was happening all the time, and he just got this big confusion going on. We're gonna pick it up at Zechariah. Let me get over to Zechariah, and let's see. We're gonna pick it up at Zechariah 14. It's so hard to get there. It's a new book. Zechariah 14, and we're going to pick it up at 13. Zechariah 14 and 13. And see, and it says, it should come to pass in that day that a great tumult, a great confusion from the Lord shall be among them, that they shall lay hold of every one on the hand, in his neighbor, in his hand shall rise up against the hand of his neighbor. And that's all we do. We fighting against each other all the time. This is what we're doing all the time. Because what? Because they have this great confusion that's going on. This is what they have caused in our communities. And it's not, we look at everybody else but ourselves. We have to look at ourselves at what we're doing. We're going to look at Luke 21 and 16. Luke 21 and 16. And pull some more information. It says, for I say unto you, I will not any more eat thereof until, oh, wait a minute, this is 20, we need 21, I'm sorry, 21 and 16, 21 and 16. And it says, and ye shall be betrayed both by parents, by brethren, by kinfolks, by friends, and some of you shall be caused to be put to death. So some parents, some of your brothers, some of your sisters, some of your daughters, some of your sons, they're going to betray you. Exactly what it's saying. They look just like you, and they're going to betray you. Period. And who's telling you this? The Lord telling you this. See, but then people want to sit and see what happened. And the same one who set this up, that dreamer, was put to death. But his death was actually, people say, well, you can always find anything you want in the Bible and you got things. But he said things with them for them not to do. And we're going to go over here to Deuteronomy 13. We're going to look at 5. Deuteronomy 13, we're going to start at 5. And it says, and that prophet, or that dreamer of dreams, see, he's making it very specific, or that dreamer of dreams shall be put to death, because he has spoken to turn you away from the Lord your God, which brought you out of the land of Egypt, and redeem you out of the house of bondage. So that same dreamer saying them other things, that what he's going to do, he put him to death. He ended him with shortcomings. To thus thee, to thee out the way, which the Lord thy God has commanded thee to walk, and thou shalt not be put the evil away from the midst of thee. So he's sitting here telling you one thing, see, but what he did, what you have to look at, they instituted birth control and started doing abortion, started killing these children. This is what they're doing. So he's doing that. So he was put to death for that, because he was setting it up, because he was saying it was a problem. Ignorant everything else. So he said to have children so we won't diminish. He's killing children so they will diminish. So many people sit there and say, this is a harsh thing to say, but we can't sit there. We have to look at what the Lord is doing. He's sitting there telling you, don't diminish. Have children. Get married, have children. Give your sons and daughters give to them for husband. He's saying the same thing, and you have these other ones sitting there saying this is a menace and they should be destroyed because they are piling up the slums and all this and that, and they should be killed off. They need some type of control. Who was saying that? W.E.B. Du Bois and King. But they wouldn't say it all publicly. They'll put it in letters and put it to the people who they need to go to. Send guard them. They have them, and it's all public knowledge. They'll send it to them to where you will be blinded of it, and you hold them at this high regard. And he said, don't put no man on no pedestal. But let's keep moving down. And if thy brother and the son of thy mother, or thy son, or thy daughter, or the wife of the bosom of thy friend, which is of thy own soul, entice thee secretly, saying, let us go serve other gods which thou have not known, nor thy fathers, namely the gods of the people which are around and about you, is what they was doing. Nigh unto thee, far from thee, and one at the end of the earth, and even unto the other end of the earth, thou shalt not consent unto him, nor hearken unto him, neither shall I pity him. So he's letting you know. So you shouldn't pity him, neither shall I spare, neither shall I counsel him. So don't even pity him on what happened to him. So this is the problem on what happened. But we're gonna go through this last little few parts, and we're gonna look at another part of this and see what went on. So I'm gonna set this up here and get this last little part, and we're gonna see right here what happened. Let's go right here, and we're going to look at this right now.
Talking about abortion. Yes, we have differences on abortion that are deep and profound. I think they're terribly important. But Barack Obama defended infanticide, the killing of fully born infants who had survived a failed abortion attempt and were then left for hours in soiled linen baskets to die.
My name is Jill Stanek, and I'm a registered nurse who witnessed babies being delivered alive and left out to die. And because of my experience, I was asked to testify on the national level before a U.S. House committee and on various state committees. Christ Hospital, and we now know other hospitals and abortion clinics around the country, are involved in an abortion procedure called induced labor abortion. And for this method of abortion, the abortionist inserts a medication into the birth canal of the mom and induced premature labor. And my experience was that they lived as short as a few minutes to once almost as long as an 8-hour shift. To be clear, these were living babies who were left out to die, and they were issued both birth and death certificates according to Illinois state law. One night, a nursing co-worker was taking a live aborted baby to our soiled utility room to die because his parents didn't want to hold him, and she didn't have time to hold him that night. And when she told me what she was doing, I couldn't bear the thought of this suffering child dying alone. and so I cradled and rocked him for the 45 minutes that he lived. He had Down syndrome and was between 21 and 22 weeks old, and he didn't move very much because he was using all of his energy attempting to breathe. And I remember toward the end of his life, I couldn't tell if he was alive or not unless I held him up against the light to see if I could see his little heart beating through his chest wall, because their skin is so thin at that age. And after he was pronounced dead, we folded his little arms across his chest. We tied them together with a little string, and I wrapped him in a shroud and took him to the morgue where we took all of our other dead patients.
Steve and Pam will tell you that we fought together in the Illinois State Senate against restrictive choice legislation, laws just like the federal abortion laws.
When I testified before an Illinois State Senate committee about my experience, Barack Obama was unmoved and actually opposed the Born Alive Infant Protection Act, which was legislation designed to stop this barbaric practice of leaving delivered babies out to die. Barack Obama says that he's all about change and forging a new path. Well, he sure did forge a new one, because on the federal level, this legislation passed unanimously, 98-0. Every Democrat in the U.S. Senate supported this, from Clinton to Kerry to Kennedy to Boxer, and even the pro-abortion group Negro went neutral on this bill. But this one guy, Barack Obama, thought that infanticide was acceptable and voted to protect it. Some people have said that Barack Obama was uninformed or may not have fully understood the implications of this bill, but he voted against it 3 times. That's calculated. He himself has defended his vote by saying that he would have voted for it had it been identically worded as a federal bill. But as chairman of the Health and Human Services Committee in 2003, he stopped the identical wording from being introduced. Barack Obama can play word games, but at the end of the day, his opposition was responsible for living babies being left out to die. And that is indefensible.
It is time for a different attitude in the White House. It is time for a different attitude in the Supreme Court. It is time to turn the page and write a new chapter in American history.